This is Will Stewart from OnlineChessLessons.net, and today I'm going to be covering a game from the finals of the 2011 U.S. Chess Championship. And so, congratulations to Gata Kamsky sealing the victory with this win in his first game against Yuri Shulman. Well, not sealing it, but he achieved a pretty comfortable draw as black and won the championship. So a very, very nice win by Kamsky, and this guy just makes a living just grinding people down. And again, I mean, this is what separates the 2,700 super GMs from the rest of the grandmasters, in that they just, very tiny, very subtle advantages, and they just convert, and they don't let any small advantage go. So we're starting out with the Queen's Gambit here, and achieving an open position. D takes C4, an interesting choice by Shulman. I'm not too crazy about this line for black, but I don't know. Maybe he was hoping, it seems like white gets a small advantage, but it's kind of a drawish position in this line. After C3, trying to, create a weak pawn for white on C3 there. And yeah, it just seems like white gets a small advantage, but black maybe can draw, should be able to achieve a draw, which wouldn't be such a bad result for the first game for Shulman. So now bishop E7, and this is what I mean. Like white is just, he's just getting the development. Very nice bishop, very nice diagonal. The rook's already, he's getting a lead in development. So a small advantage, which Kamsky lives for small advantages. So bishop D2 and A4, and I like the knight maneuver with bishop D2 and knight A5, putting a little pressure on that pawn, and also it's going to help him maybe invade on the B file as well. So rook A6 seems like, this is a very drawish position, but white does have the lead in development, and the knight on A5 is looking, it's a good piece. So knight B7, and Kamsky is pushing here, and he's pressing for the advantage. Maybe bishop F4 was his idea. Knight to D6, just putting pressure on black. And so Shulman, I think maybe this idea with rook A8, I think maybe it was a little better to trade a pair of rooks off the board and kind of reduce some of the pressure, the potential for white. So now, something of note, C5 would be a huge positional blunder by white. You want to keep your pawns, the bishops are dark squared bishops, so you want to keep your pawns on light squares so they can maneuver. That's what white wants to do. So just a point of interest. So rook D3 and rook B8. So, okay, rook B8, I like it. He's got to try to trade a pair of rooks off or something. He can't just let white do whatever he wants. The problem is bishop F4. And so now the rook's got to go back, and white kind of just gained it. So it's very tough for black to do anything constructive here. And the knight on B7 looks like it's maybe a little overextended, like it could be a weak, maybe it could get trapped. But in reality, it's restricting black's pieces a lot. And so now here, knight c5, he wants to trade it, and so he takes, and now king f1. So f3 was the beginning of Kamsky's strategy to put his pawns on light squares. And so this king e8, and now bishop e5, and I guess Shulman didn't want to play f6, but maybe he should have. I don't know. I mean, he doesn't want to put his pawns on dark squares either. But this bishop is just getting too comfortable on the diagonal. So with g6, not a huge fan of the move, but I understand why. So Shulman is down to 15 minutes, and Kamsky's got about 45. So time can definitely be an issue. They started out with 90 minutes, and they're playing with a 30-second increment. So now bishop f6 and rook b6. So Shulman just, if he can just trade the rooks off, he's going to draw his game easily. But the problem is, easier said than done. So rook takes b6, so he's achieved one reduction, one trade. And this pawn on a4 is going to be quite a weakness in this endgame. If he trades the other rooks off, maybe white can get to it. I don't know. So now bishop c5, and so this is rook b6, rook b8, and now king c2. So here's the problem. Black just spent bishop takes, bishop back to c5, and bishop to e7. So he just spent a few moves while white was able to get his king closer to that pawn on a4, which is extremely weak. So that's because he played g6 and he let the bishop come to f6. So now bishop c3 and f5 here. I don't know about that one because maybe just trade the rooks. Maybe that was the better idea. Rook d8. Because trading material is going to reduce white's winning chances. It's going to make it tougher for him to break in and attack black's weaknesses. And it's also going to be tough for him to win this pawn just with the king because the bishop is going to be able to control these squares in this diagonal. So f5, okay. Shulman's down to 4 minutes. Also, being lower on time, it's going to ease his defensive task with less material on the board as well. So h3, and this is just, Kamsky is just too good. So now we see that black has got a lot of pawn islands. White does as well, but the thing is, his pawns are a little farther back. So, this, you'd think material's dead even, highly reduced, but maybe Shulman he can't hold these pawns. The pawn on a4 is too weak, and g6 is too spread out. And so now king d6. I don't know. Maybe king d7 was just a blunder, but I guess it's tough to offer advice. But maybe I don't know. It just seems like white is gonna penetrate either way you look at it. Maybe king e7 was the move. To counter, rook b7 with rook d7. I don't know. It's getting difficult. It seems like it should be even, but white's got pressure. And now he wins a pawn. So takes g4. Maybe one pawn's not enough to win here, but Kamsky, this is all he does. He just grinds people down. He wins, give him half a pawn and forget about it. The game's over. So bishop e3. So black has still got, he's got chances to draw, but Kamsky's too good. Rook d8, and now rook d3. So, exploiting, now trading rooks down a pawn is going to be bad. Throws in a little check. The check was not so trivial because it pushes black's king towards the king side, because the rook is cutting it off on the d-file. So the check was actually important. And now he trades rooks, and just an easily won game by Kamsky. It's crazy. Shulman is a very strong GM. He's not 2,700 FIDE, but he's a very good player and very dangerous. Kamsky just makes it look too easy. And now with these two pawns, it's over. So Shulman resigned, and winning the first game, Kamsky comfortably drew the second and won the U.S. Championship title for 2011. Fantastic tournament by Kamsky. Got to give a shout out to some of the young guns. Naroditsky playing, Ray Robson, Robert Hess, Sam Shanklin. Fantastic tournaments for the young players in the U.S. And definitely be interesting to see these guys develop in the next few years. So great tournament by Kamsky. Congratulations. And this is Will Stewart from OnlineChessLessons.net. And thanks for tuning in.